It's early in the morning, November 21st, 2016. Emma's father peered into her bedroom to see if she was awake, but she appeared to be fast asleep, so he left her to rest. A short time later, after Emma failed to wake on her own, her mother entered her room and attempted to wake her up. What she witnessed that day in her baby girl's room would devastate the very fabric of their family. Emma was lying dead in her bed from a gunshot wound to her head. Who would do such a horrible thing to their sweet, loving, intelligent daughter? Welcome to Find Me in the Dark, a podcast covering all things true crime. This is micro episode number 1, The Murder of Emma Walker by Riley Gall. Hello and welcome back to Find Me in the Dark. This is micro episode numero uno, the first one ever. Yeah, for Patreon users, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so thank you all for supporting and, wanting to listen to our podcast so bad that you're going to give us your money.
Much appreciated.
You know what I mean?
Toilet paper's expensive.
Yeah, I mean, we'll take whatever we can get, dude.
I do want to shout out Eric Wright, our newest Patreon member.
Thank you, sir.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So today is such a weird case that we're going to be covering. It just really, I mean, it spans so many different things, like the fragile teenage mind, mental abuse, narcissism. I mean, there's so many different things that are covered in such a short story, and it really just points out how dangerous these situations can be. Like, they should be taken seriously.
Yeah, 100%. These kids are fragile, you know, and you know, their minds are still developing, and sometimes they can't, you know, maybe not know how to handle certain situations and react appropriately.
Yeah, and people think that this stuff only happens in, like, these, you know, low-income areas, you know what I mean? But this is straight up rich peopleville.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, these are rich kids that basically have to look really hard to find problems. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but I mean, mentally, I mean, you can still, I mean, it doesn't matter how much money you have.
That's true. So, yeah.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Let's just get into it.
So, Emma Walker was a 16-year-old high school student / cheerleader at Central High School in Knoxville, Tennessee. Her mother describes her as beautiful, vibrant, and warm-hearted. Emma was strong-willed, sassy, sarcastic young lady that was by far the light of the family. She was a good student and, by all accounts, a better friend. Emma had plans for her future. She planned to become a neonatal nurse, but those plans were taken from her. Everyone loved Emma, but there was someone who loved her a little too much. A love that would destroy an entire family and shock the community forever. William Riley Gall, at the time of the crime, was 18 years old, a Division III college football star at Maryville College in Tennessee. Riley and Emma met in high school and instantly formed a connection and began dating there soon after. They had an on and off again tumultuous relationship, frequently breaking up and shortly after getting back together. Riley was a controlling, insecure, narcissistic boy that mentally abused Emma frequently during their relationship. Emma had finally had enough. She broke things off with Riley in an attempt to focus on herself and move forward with her life. Riley, though, he did not take this breakup well. Being a fragile-minded, self-centered, narcissistic young man, he wouldn't accept her rejection and refused to let her move on with her life.
2 nights prior to the murder, Emma was at a friend's house celebrating a Central High School football victory when she began receiving text messages from a number that she didn't recognize. The text message said that someone she knew had been kidnapped and she needed to come outside alone. The text read as follows: "Go alone. I've got someone you love. If you don't comply, I will hurt them. We have him now. If you don't care about him anymore, then it shouldn't bother you. Call the police and he dies. Your choice. If you'd like to hear his final screams, give me a call. He is in a ditch beside the house. It's a shame you can all of a sudden not value someone's life." After reading the messages, Emma and her friends stepped outside and found Riley laying in the ditch next to the house. He stated that he had been hit over the head and knocked unconscious, rendering it impossible to remember exactly who had kidnapped him. How convenient.
The very next night, Emma witnessed a man dressed in all black, prowling the neighborhood, eventually making it to her house, knocking on the door, and menacingly standing in front of the house. Emma texted Riley in a panic, not knowing who else to contact, and told him about this deranged masked man. Riley swiftly rushed to her rescue, showing up mere minutes after Emma contacted him to save the day. He comforted Emma, promising he had taken care of the animal stalking her house.
It's now early in the morning, November 21st. The moon still illuminates the Tennessee sky. Riley, dressed in all black, creeps into the Walkers' fenced-in yard. He raises the pistol he had stolen from his grandfather, takes aim at Emma's bedroom, and fires 2 shots through the wall of the house. 1 bullet lodged in her pillow, and the other entered her head behind her left ear, killing her instantly. The gunshots awoke her father. He walked to Emma's room, opens the door, peers in, and sees what he believes to be his sleeping daughter, thinks nothing of it, and closes the door. At 6:15, Emma's mother walked into her room and tried to shake her daughter awake. No response. "Emma," she says in an attempt to wake her up, but still, nothing. After moments of trying to bring Emma back to consciousness, her mother dialed 911. Law enforcement officials arrive on the scene to determine that Emma had been shot to death in her sleep with a 9mm handgun. The news of Emma's untimely death spread through the neighborhood like a wildfire, devastating her family and her classmates.
After Emma's death and before his arrest, Riley makes a series of tweets reading, "That's my beautiful Emma. Rest easy now, sweetheart. 1 Corinthians 13, verse 8. Be sure to remind God about our verse." The verse Riley is referring to is, "Love never fails, but where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away." On the day of her funeral, Riley had this to say, "I love you, Emma. I can't be around any of that yet. It's too soon. I know you know I'm dying to be there, but understand I can't. I love you." Prior to the murder, Riley confided in a friend, saying he stole his grandfather's gun because he was afraid for his life, and he was scared that the people that were out to get him were also out to get Emma.
After the murders, Riley's friends informed the police of suspicious conversations they had with Riley. They wanted to do whatever they could to help find Emma's killer. When questioned by detectives, Riley gave extremely vague answers and denied ever showing his grandfather's gun to his friends. After the initial interviews, Riley texted one of his friends that was questioned, Alex, and asked him why he told the police about the gun. Alex responded by saying that if he wasn't guilty of anything, that the information about the gun wouldn't matter anyways. Alex went to Riley's house after the interview to talk about what had just happened. Riley was in an absolute panic and was saying that he had to find a way to get rid of the weapon to avoid being pinned for a crime that he did not commit. This is when Alex knew his friend was guilty of Emma's murder. No innocent man would scramble to dispose of a weapon unless he was guilty of the crime.
Alex and Noah, one of Riley's other friends that had been questioned, contacted the police and told them they think that they can help recover the murder weapon. The officers set up hidden cameras in the house and wired both of the boys, and then had them invite Riley over to play video games and attempt to extract information out of him. Despite all their efforts, Riley didn't bite. While he didn't say anything about committing the crime, he advised both of his friends to recant their statements and say that they were both on drugs and could no longer remember anything. He then proceeds to ask Noah and Alex if they would help him dispose of the gun by dumping it in the Tennessee River. They both agree, and all three of the boys get into Alex's car and go to Riley's stepfather's house where he had hidden the weapon. Riley got out of the car and quickly came back, wielding a black trash bag. Noah and Alex ask to see the gun, but Riley refuses to show them. They arrive at the dump site. Riley rifles through the bag and pulls out the gun. Alex says the code word, "Wow, that's a real gun," prompting the unmarked police car to pull up and pull them over.
Riley is taken into custody, but shortly after released into the custody of his parents on a $1 million bond. At the end of the trial, Riley was found guilty of 7 charges total. First-degree murder, felony murder, stalking, tampering with evidence, theft, possession of a firearm, and reckless endangerment. He was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 51 years served.
All right, the jury has reported that they have reached a verdict. Ladies and gentlemen, when the jury announces the verdict, there are to be no protests, no outbursts, no disturbances of any kind. Whatever the jury's verdict is, we will respect the jury's verdict. State ready for the jury?
We are.
Ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's bring in the jury. Ladies and gentlemen, the jury, did you choose a four-person? You did. Who is your four-person? Mr. Gilder?
That is correct.
Mr. Gilder, has the jury reached the verdict?
Yes, sir, we have.
Will you please stand? Mr. Gall, please stand. Mr. Gilder, in count 1, the first defined offense charging the defendant with first-degree murder, did the jury reach a verdict?
Yes, we did.
What is your verdict?
Guilty.
In count 2, charging the defendant, the charged offense is especially aggravated stalking. Did the jury reach a verdict?
Yes, we did.
What is your verdict?
Not guilty.
And for the lesser included offense of aggravated stalking, did the jury reach a verdict?
We did.
What is your verdict?
Not guilty.
And for the lesser included offense of stalking, did the jury reach a verdict?
We did.
What is your verdict?
Guilty.
In count 3, charging the defendant with theft, did the jury reach a verdict?
We did.
What is your verdict?
Guilty.
And with respect to the value of the property, did the jury find the property was worth more than $500 but less than $1,000?
We did.
Very well. And count 4, charging the defendant with tampering with evidence, did the jury reach a verdict?
We did.
What is your verdict?
Guilty.
And count 5, charging the defendant with reckless endangerment, did the jury reach a verdict?
We did.
What is your verdict?
Guilty.
In count 6, charging the defendant with employing a firearm during a dangerous felony, did the jury reach a verdict?
We did.
What is your verdict?
Not guilty.
And as for the lesser included offense of possession of a firearm during a dangerous felony, did the jury reach a verdict?
We did.
What is your verdict?
Guilty.
And count 7, charging the defendant with the charged offense of felony murder, did the jury reach a verdict?
We did.
What is your verdict?
Guilty.
You can be seated. Mr. Gall, you can be seated. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, if the verdicts that have just been reported to the court are in fact the verdicts of you and each and every one of you, please indicate so by raising your right hands now. I count 12 raised hands. You can put your hands down. Is the state requesting any further polling of the jury?
Not from the state judge.
Is the defense requesting any further polling of the jury?
No, you're not.
Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much. You have worked as long and as hard as any jury I've seen. And this has been a really tough case. And you've indicated by the way you found you've been guilty of some things and not guilty of others, that you very thoughtfully considered this case step by step. I compliment your efforts, and I thank you. You can see that we cannot do this work without your help, people like you. So thank you very much, and at this time, I do accept your verdict. I will accept your verdict. and I do release you at this time. Thank you.
WATE6 on your side. Reporter Madison Keevee was in court for the process. Madison, we had not heard from Riley Gall in court until today.
You're right, Lori. The first time he's spoken, reading from a prepared statement. He first started by apologizing to the Walker family. This only after Emma Walker's parents spoke first, reading from their own prepared statements. The stories shared were memories and dreams they had for their daughter that they say are no longer possible. The state reiterating that Gall's actions were deliberate, and Gall himself said otherwise.
My intentions were not, and never have been, to cause Emma any physical harm. At times, I was a terrible boyfriend. I caused her emotional and psychological pain during the 2 years that we were together. But I never once even imagined to cause her any physical harm.
Yeah. So,
Fuck that dude.
yeah. Fuck that dude. He couldn't imagine. I mean, he didn't even try. You know, he wasn't really trying to hurt her. You
No,
know?
just shooting
He's
to the
just-
house twice.
You know, man.
No
who?
big deal.
Hey, bro. Let's be honest. You know, everybody shoots a couple times through somebody's house.
Yeah, okay.
Happens every day. You know.
Yeah. This fucking guy.
Yeah, man. That's sickening, dude. I mean, for what? For what?
Attention.
It's like, bro, you can't take
Literally,
a breakup, dude.
Attention.
Hey, Tinder. You know what I'm saying?
For real.
Like, for real, dude.
Yeah.
This wasn't like 1993. There was Tinder, bro.
Yeah, it's just
Get on Tinder.
It's unfortunate she had to lose her life over nothing, man.
Yeah, man. I mean,
It's sad.
yeah, she was such a promising young girl from what it seemed like too, and he seemed promising too.
Right. I mean,
he was
college football scholarship.
College football,
I mean,
Yeah.
Believe me, I played football. It's not easy to get college scholarship.
Yeah, man, I watch football. I know it's probably pretty hard, right? Yeah, so that is our case for the day, our first micro episode for Patreon. So we just want to thank you guys for listening. And yeah, Rob, what do you got to say, man?
So, episode 3, the Girl Scout murders of 1977, will be out on Wednesday.
Oh, yeah.
So, stay tuned for that. That will be out for everybody to listen to.
Yeah, thanks again, everybody. We love you.
Love you.
Yep, find me in the dark. See you later.
Peace.